They won't regret. That but that I'm sure. So as Ali said, and yeah, personally, I don't want to make it a boring, presentation sort of a thing. So why not we just begin with what is extremism in Pakistani context? How do we really, define? Are we referring to extremism which has something to do with its violent manifestation, which results in violence only? What exactly happens before that and what is happening, and especially in our context, apparently normal individuals, are they, can you tell by looking at their face that, they are in their modern attire, but because they are in their modern attire, they work in a specific setting, they cannot be intolerant or extremist. So it is not much to do with how you look, because we have unfortunately categorized it between how do you look and how if you look modern, then perhaps you are not really intolerant or extremist or radicalized, and if you look in a certain way, you are already. We need to see what is happening in the in the mindset, what kind of mindset that is prevailing. So what I feel in the contemporary, especially in the contemporary, regional situation, regional global situation, and in Pakistani context, extremism has much to do with not just with its militant, violent manifestation, but it's more about the narrative, the ideas that you keep. So what is happening in Pakistan, first thing is we need to differentiate between, if you are religious, that does not really make you extremist. One thing is clear. So religion is more of a belief. It's faith, it's your faith. You submit yourself to a superior authority. That does not make you, even if you are a conservative, that does not make you an extremist. What really makes you an extremist is perhaps extremism is a condition or act of taking an extreme view. What do we mean by extreme view? That you are not really keeping a space or giving a space to another person or another idea to flourish. You don't really have any space for that. Whatever you believe or feel is the ultimate truth. That's the only way, that's the only thing that exists. So if you call yourself religious, if you think that you are really faithful, but the way you define it, it's something that's the best way, that's the only way. And if you find another person following a different path is unacceptable, or you are not tolerant. So religious extremism is basically a term which is used to describe the actions or ideologies of individuals or groups which are intolerant of any diversity or an opinion. Rigid, inflexible state of mind towards another person or point of view. Here we are not talking about right or wrong. We need to keep this thing in mind. You may be wrong, or the other person may be right, but you are giving the space to other person to express herself or himself. We are not engaging here that because you believe in certain ideas, they are bound to be right or bound to be true. Because we believe in liberal democracy, or because we believe in secularism, or because we believe modernism or moderate Islam and things like that, we are bound to be right. And others who do not believe in that, they are wrong. We are not engaging in that debate. We are just saying that they can have their point of view, whatever the point of view is that, and you can, but then you both have the same kind of opportunities to at least express. And if there is no opportunity, or if your religion, your politics, or your life is affected by the views of other individuals, then there is no tolerance. Then that's basically an extremist setting or environment where you live, whether it's political or social. As I said, extremism can be both violent and non-violent. And right now, yes, we are dealing with the violent side of it. A number of operations are going on, but what is exactly happening when it comes to non-violent extremism? Our topic is more to do with violent extremism and we have to counter it. But then what you are going to do with the mindset which may not appear to be violent, but then that's the point where, that's the most vulnerable point. That's the stage where young minds are easily influenced and, made to do things which are obviously not good for the society. I think when we talk about extremism or especially violent, religious violence, there are three different schools, broadly speaking. I mean, there can be many school of thoughts and there can be many groups and people, and it's every day it's increasing. But there is a group of scholars or experts who and that includes one of the very important scholar who contributed a lot. His name is Hent, and I don't know how you spell the last name, Vries or Vries. So it may be Vries or it's a Scottish, not a Scottish name. It's I think French name, or I don't know, Henry Vries. But he has and Marx Juergensmeyer. What they believe that there appears to be something of, it's not just very simplistic to say that there are some good people and bad people, but there is something inherently, wrong with this. Religion has this aspect of violence in it, and there is this cosmic clash that always exists. So you believe in something and the others would always come up with a different thing, and that clash will continue to exist. And this will, as long as religion and religious practices are there, this cosmic confrontation or clash or wars will continue to have. So there is a school of thought. Another that includes as more current or contemporary, that includes Daniel Pipe, Samuel Huntington, and Bernard Lewis and Jessica Stern and other people, and if you go through the literature, you will find a number of people. They actually believe that perhaps other religions, they got themselves reformed. Islam has got this inherent problem because of the lack of reforms and reformation. It is still, it's stuck somewhere. So they believe that it's because if there is violence and if there is this religious, clash, it's because of this particular religion which has more role to play than other religion. And then the third one, where you find people who are more into the peaceful aspect of religion, that includes Mark Gopen and other Apple Scott Bay, who talk about the positive side of religion, the good side of religion, that it's always how you play with the policies, it's not religion itself. So broadly speaking, there are different people who would talk about religion in entirely with different perspectives. And this is yes, unfortunately, this is all coming from the West. Not really something to do with and not really some indigenous work that you find. In Pakistani context, when we say extremism, and then he will talk about more how he, his organization has been dealing with the community initiatives. But in Pakistani context, when we say extremism, people tend to, and I'm talking about general public and the television experts also, who call themselves experts, but they tend to sort of mix these different terminologies: extremism, Talibanization, terrorism, radicalization. They are all different phases, different stages, but they tend to mix them and use them interchangeably. If you look at Pakistan at the local level, what do you find? Taliban with Talibanization, so the process of Talibanization, because, and they have got, it's not just the militancy, but they have got a very, sort of a sectarian aspect also, because Taliban talks about a particular sect. Within that context, they are talking about the right religion or the way religion is supposed to be practiced. National, at national level, you find sectarian and religio-political organizations. At the regional level, you find the organizations which are not just focusing on Pakistan, but obviously across the border, and they are more into what is happening outside Pakistan than inside Pakistan. And then, of course, transnational organizations with Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and and their ideas about an ideal state. The issue is that just as the opinion of people matter in analyzing the situation and the phenomena of extremism in Pakistan, the intellectuals or those who are working on it and the religious scholars is also important. If you ask religious scholars, they would say that they don't really find a religious problem. They would say it's a political problem. If you go and talk to them. If you talk to the social scientists, they would say that it's because of the religious, too much religion, or its role of religion or religious, religiosity that people, express, and every other thing that has made all these problems. Politics is not just politics, but it is too much religion. So you find a diverse opinion between, within the same country when you talk to these people. I think I will, it can go on and on, but I think I should move to what is the problem now. I think one of the issues is, yes, one of the problem that we find is the old Islamist and the new Islamist. The old Islamists have always been, it's not something Islamization or religion or religiosity or religious extremism. It's not something, which is recently, as many people, tend to see it in post 9/11 context. Islamists have always have been there, and they have their own ideas about a particular state or way of government. The old Islamists, the only thing that we find what is new is that the old Islamists, they would still remain within the context of, within the constitutional context of framework. So if they want Islamization in Pakistan or Egypt or any other country, they would still try to, work it out within the constitution through political system and all that. But the new Islamists altogether rejected this whole idea of constitution, modern state, or this whole idea. I mean, they would always talk about a new system. So this is something which is, so that is why old Islamists were always sort of acceptable to different governments and political, within the political system. The new Islamists are challenging the writ of the state. So it's like state versus these different groups. And what we are facing, we are not fighting a war with the old Islamist or the traditional religio-political groups. We are fighting as a state with these new Islamists who are challenging the writ of the state altogether, the idea of the state. I think what has made things problematic is the, and I'll come to the last point and then he'll talk, is the culture of silence. So I was talking to Ali about this, that there is a culture of silence. The issue is, or the problem is, culture of silence versus culture of violence. So you have violence, yes, you have violence everywhere, then at the same time you have developed a culture of silence also. So the majority of the people who may not be violent, but then their silence is taken as approval of the act that is happening. So initially it's now not happening, but initially most of the surveys that were coming from the West, they were mentioning that 78% or 85% of Pakistanis, they are happy with the presence of Osama bin Laden, or they sort of support him, because now what does that mean? If they are saying that yes, we do believe in Islam, or if they are not really raising their voice against a certain activity, that was taken as an approval. by the international community that perhaps the 93 or 97% Muslim population of Pakistan has got no problem with these extremist interpretations of Islam that different groups are presenting. So culture, this is something that needs to be changed. Now who is going to do that? This is where the intervention by the community organizations, because not everybody is well educated or not everybody has access to universities or those settings where they can engage in debate or discourse. Local television channels depend on, media depends on what exactly is the hot issue at that point of time. They will engage and they'll present those ideas, but that's not a consistent thing. It's the community level and initiative that really help people to at least engage in the discussion and do not feel challenged or threatened by raising a question. Unfortunately, that has also become a culture within the country, and because of a variety of reasons, that if you ask a question about a certain religious thing, you are basically questioning the religion itself. So, and that's why most of the people do not question any authority, local authority, whether it's the imam of the mosque or any other elder. But that has really contributed in restricting the knowledge that they were supposed to. So they are not really well educated when it comes to religion, although they are all supposed to be graduates of madrasas or religious schools. So this is where the community in a very local, at a very local level, in a very local indigenous way can present some ideas which should, which may not, and in fact they should not appear alien or foreign to people, and then there would be more acceptability. So I think
well, thank you so much for sharing the precious thoughts.